Hello everyone, welcome to another oil painting video. Today, as you can see, we have a very dirty, ugly canvas, a linen canvas too, no doubt. This was an experiment that I tried with a sunset that went horribly wrong. So what I did was, and one of the beauties of oil, one of the many beauties of oil, is I was able to wipe it off before it dried, and I knew pretty much as soon as I finished the painting that I didn't want to keep it. What you do is you scrape it off with a palette knife and wipe it off with a shop towel and get it to where you can see a little bit, to where the paint colors are not on there as far as they're painted on like you see what I'm doing now, but they're like staining the canvas, okay? So you can almost see the white of the canvas underneath it. Once you get it like that, let it sit for about a week. That's what I did. And then paint right over it. If you're not using, acrylic paint, if you're going oil on oil and you wait that long and it's that thin a paint, you'll have no problem with anything. This painting that I'm doing now is a waterfall, and it's nothing that I've seen. I mentioned in my last video, and I've done it in a few of them, and I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not going to plan out anything. One of the things that I want to do is I want to appeal to the hobby artist, the people that want to just try it out for the first time, not the real, hardcore people that already know what they're doing. Somebody that's just trying it out and wanting to see if they like oils or not. So I'm trying to do some simplistic things that are just off the top of my head. A lot of the compositions are going to look similar, but they're all going to be different. The colors will be different and things like that. And then what I want to do is just show how easy it is to get a nice looking composition and a nice looking painting with just a little bit of practice. I apologize for the dogs. Those are actually across the street. It's 71 degrees, so I had to have the windows open, so I hope it's not too distracting for you. If I play it back and it sounds like it's too distracting, I'll just re-record this voiceover, and I'll close the window. But being in March in the western suburbs of Chicago and it's 71 degrees, I cannot close the window unless I absolutely have to. We don't see many days like this in March. Okay, another thing. Don't be afraid to turn your painting upside down like I just did. Whatever makes it easier for you to paint. One of the things that they have in painting, and they have in everything, is rules. And certain rules are this and certain rules are that. Ooh, I'm going to get back to the rules. We'll circle back to that. I want to show you about this. I've done it a couple of times before, and I learned this from Kevin Hill. Kevin Hill has a YouTube channel, a very good YouTube channel, called Paint with Kevin, I believe. And he uses shop towels like I'm using there. Shop towels, I got a 6-pack at Walmart for, I want to say, like $8. He leaves his on longer than I did, but what I Just wanted to make sure I got the falls coming down straight, and I wanted that white to show up against that real dark water real nice. Now, you can see the method to my madness of why I made the water so dark. When I skim the white over it, look how pretty that looks. It's got a real... Now, I'm going to put white caps on there, and I'm going to smooth those over just the same way that I did with the sky. So the technique I learned to do the sky, which I learned from Stuart Davies, who's also a very successful gifted artist on YouTube, is the same way I'm doing this. And I'm going to do this one a couple of times to get it exactly the way I want. But if you notice, I just tapped in with the brush, the titanium white. And now I'm cleaning my brush to get it all the paint out of it. And then I'm going to dry it off really good. And then in a second here, I'm going to there we go. Very gently skim those on there. And there we go. I'm not completely done with it yet. Putting in a little bit more of the splash, and then I'll put a few more of the white caps in, and then I'm going to clean my brush and kind of soften them up again, and then that'll have the water exactly where I'm looking for it to be. Because you figure the way it's coming down, you're not going to have the real harsh waves everywhere. I even saw Niagara River when it goes to the falls, and even after the falls, it's rough water, but it's not the rigid, rough stuff. It's a little softer in feel the further away you get from the actual bottom of the falls. And here I'm just adding just a little bit more. Again, this is just going by feel of what I like and what looks good to me. And now I'm pretty happy with it. The trees are going to be coming in next, and I'm going to have a lot of trees on both sides of the waterfall. And I'm actually going to have a few littler ones on top. And when I'm doing the trees, it's going to be a mixture of phthalo green, French ultramarine blue, and alizarin crimson. I might have a little bit of blue black. I think I do too. Just a hair of blue black to darken it up just a bit, to kind of go against that real light sky. And then, I'm going to put in maybe not a forest, but a pretty dense area of trees on both sides. And I'm going to make it really vegetation friendly. And you see how dark I've got that color. It's hard to see here on the video, but, well, actually you can a little bit. I used a decent amount of alizarin crimson. And one of the reasons I do is because alizarin crimson, it's such a dark red. When you mix it with those other colors, even though it gives it a little bit of a red hint to it, it's still a beautiful color for trees. It really is. And I just love the way, the forest and stuff that I do looks with that color in it. So I use alizarin crimson in a lot of my art for vegetation and stuff. And then I'm putting a few little ones now right there above the falls. And if you notice, I'm making those a lot more faint than I did with the ones on the left. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want the ones on the left to appear closer to the front and the ones in the back closer to the back. Say that fast 5 times. Okay, now I'm going to put these in. Now these are going to be big because they're going to go the height of the falls and a little over it. But they're not going to be all the way to the top of the canvas. I didn't want to get rid of those background trees up there. I like those there. Now this is my green and yellow together now. Put a lot more yellow to brighten it up. However, I am going to eventually get some dark in there so it doesn't look like just a big light mess. So that's just part of it right now. That's not the whole thing. And now I'm just putting in the foreground grass and kind of getting everything situated here. This painting is something that I really enjoy doing. I love waterfalls. I mean, if I could, I might make a career out of just painting waterfalls. Making up a bunch of them, visiting some, and then painting some as visit. whatever the case may be. There's just something about waterfalls. They're beautiful. The sound is just so relaxing, and the power that they generate is just incredible. So, and they look great in paintings too. I love looking at waterfall paintings, whether I paint them or somebody else does. And then let's see here. The painting doesn't actually have a lot more to go. I didn't speed this one up double speed like I normally do because for some reason iMovie wouldn't let me. This had 2 clips because I got interrupted, and for whatever reason it would let me detach the audio so I can do a voiceover, but every time I tried to double the speed, when I hit play, it would, for whatever reason, just go back to regular speed. And I tried for it for about 10 minutes. It wouldn't work. So I finally just said the heck with it. And I figured, okay, we're going to have to suffer through it here. Okay, now here's the darks that I'm putting in. And you notice how much better those trees look now? In oil painting, you can do it either way. Light first and then put dark over it, or dark first and then put light over it. Usually you go dark to light. In some cases, like I just did, it's not that big of a deal to go light to dark the other way around, because I wasn't going to kill all the lights. Just like when you're going with the light paint last, you don't want to kill all the darks. You want to leave the contrast. And that's one of the things I did with the ground too. I've got a lot of the darks in there, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of light, and it's going to be the Alizarin Crimson mixed with white, similar to these flower colors that I'm tapping in right now. And I'm going to do that for the foreground here too. But again, I'm not covering the yellow completely or the green completely. I want them to kind of mix together and blend together, and some of them actually just stand out a little bit more, just to make the scene more interesting. You know, when you're in nature, especially in the wild, where it's not like an arboretum where they manicure and take care of the grounds, you know, when you're going out in the forest reserves even, let alone, you know, into the mountains and stuff, I mean, there's wildflowers glowing everywhere, and there's, you know, red growing into green, and I mean, it's just all over the place. And it's kind of what I think is some of the most beautiful chaos, I guess you can put it, that, you know, I've ever seen in my life. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this painting. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, consider subscribing to my channel. And once you hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell. And if you're already going to subscribe, you might as well hit the bell. And then that way you'll know whenever I upload a video. I normally upload videos every Sunday night. I had a lot of stuff going on this weekend. That's why this is a Monday. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.